I had zero intentions of becoming a designer. I broke up with the guy I was dating, thank God. I basically was homeless. And it's just funny for me to think that at the time people were like, oh my God, I love what you're doing. Like, it's so amazing. Like, oh, that's so sweet. This was the sweetest little house. This is where it all started. Hey y'all, we're back with another episode of MM Tells All. I have no idea what's in store today, but I'm super excited to find out. So let's get started. Oh my God. This just like makes me laugh. Oh, it's so sweet. Oh my God. This was like my dollhouse, I called it. And it was my first home purchase. And this is when I like started designing my home and posting photos. And this art my mom gave me is her piece of art. And that's her chandelier that she also gave me. So I installed it in my house. And then I had this humongous king bed in like the tiniest room you've ever seen. And so I did this like wall of like curtains, like probably from Target or something, behind the bed. And I did this like blue headboard that I found on like Amazon or something. And I did that because I was like so infatuated with Becky Owens, who is a designer who I love. And I'll never forget, she had this like blue headboard or blue bed in this room. And I was like, oh my God, like I want that. I'm obsessed with that. And so that's how I designed this room. But yeah, I would probably never do that now. But I just remember being like so proud of it at the time. And I'm pretty sure I took this photo myself too. I would take all my own photos and post them online. But it started the business, so I'm grateful for it. It's very sweet. Oh, oh my goodness. This like, oh my God, this like almost like makes me emotional. Seriously. This little desk was in my guest room at my home where I started the business. And it was all while I was working full-time, very full-time in my old job, which was healthcare sales. I was in a management position, like working my way up the corporate ladder, just thought that's what I'd be doing forever. And every single night I would sit at this desk till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I would just bang out like as many design projects I possibly could for anyone that would hire me for anything. Like I would do anything just to be able to do design. And so, I mean, I spent hours upon hours upon hours sitting at this little desk, just picking out like anything I could for somebody, the smallest little detail, I was doing it. And this was a time in my life where I was single, you know, I had no commitment besides my job, you know, that was a very full-time job, but that was it. So any other waking moment I had in my life was sitting at this little desk, figuring out how in the world I was going to do design work and my full-time job. I never would have thought it would have become my full-time job. So it's very, like, it's almost emotional for me to look at this and think back on that. Oh yeah, I remember one of the dumbest things I ever did. You know, I didn't know what I was doing at all. And I just had trade accounts with like all these retailers, like Lulu in Georgia, for example, which I love them to this day. But I was so, I don't know what I was thinking, but I posted on my Instagram, like, order any of these rugs on Lulu in Georgia from me and I can get you 20% off. Not realizing that like 20% off was my trade discount. I was making no money doing this whatsoever. And it cost me money to do that. By the time I was like ordering all these rugs for people, shipping them to them, didn't realize I had to pay shipping and sales tax and all these things. I had no clue what I was doing, but at that time I thought if I could just get people to like reach out to me and think of me for things that they need help with, then that's a win. So I ended up losing a lot of money when I did that, but it was like a learning moment for me that you don't pass along your discount or you don't make any money. So I think we've all been there and done that. This was the sweetest little house. I mean, like, I have so many fond memories at this house, and this is where it all started. And I remember I went to that big store downtown, that More Circle was like the premier furniture store in downtown Charleston. And the building still stands. It's such a cool space. It's huge. And they had thousands and thousands of square feet of upholstery. And I went in there and I picked out this little sectional. I was so proud of it. And it's like a creamy beigey colored. It's got like rolled arms. Like, I would never, ever pick that out to this day. But I was so proud of like that I custom designed this sofa for my home. And those little chairs, I think I found at West Elm, and I went and got them upholstered in like a custom fabric. But everything was like beige and white, which luckily for me at that time, anyone who was designing their home with like a coastal influence wanted everything to be like white. So this appealed to a lot of people at that time. But what's so funny is like now I would never do this. And it's just funny for me to think that at the time people were like, oh my God, I love what you're doing. Like, it's so amazing. Like, oh, that's so sweet. So I bought that house in 2016 or 2017. And then when I officially started my business on January 1st of 2018, I sold that house and I sold everything in it because I was so nervous that if this didn't work out, what was I going to do? So I wanted to have some little nest egg just in case. And so in that interim time, I was like staying at friends' Airbnbs. I stayed in my friend's guest room for a certain amount of time. I basically was homeless for a little bit. I just didn't know if this was gonna work out. And that little house was honestly like all I had. And so I just decided to sell it, take that money that I made and put all my eggs in this basket. And that if it didn't work out, then I could always, as my dad said, Meg, you can always go out and get another job. You'll be fine. And I just thought, okay, if I did have to do that, at least I'm not going to get myself into another house yet. I'm going to make sure this works first. It was such a weird time. Like, I'm going to be honest, like I was living out of a suitcase. I broke up with the guy I was dating at the time, like, thank God. I was like 34, 35 years old. So that's not normal, I think. Like, I probably should have, hopefully I wish I would have figured this out sooner, but that just wasn't my plan, and that's okay looking back. But at the time it did feel very much like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? And at that time, all my friends were like having kids and getting married. What are you doing? Moment. Oh, so this was in that same little house. This was the bar area and like the dining room. And I did entertain all the time. Like, I had friends over all the time. And I found all those little pictures at like, oh my gosh, like thrift stores. I found most of them there, and then some local artists. And all my glassware and everything that I like collected and found. Like, I can't even believe like all my friends would come over to my house because I lived in West Ashley but all my friends would like make the trek from downtown or Mount Pleasant, and I was like all the way out here in West Ashley, but I was like so proud of my little house. So everyone would come see me and hang out, and I would like throw really fun dinner parties and stuff. So I'm thankful that my friends still came and spent time with me, even though I was kind of on the outskirts. I threw a really epic Christmas party. We had Santa DJ. I found him on, I think at the time it was Craigslist. And he was this super sketchy DJ that showed up in a Santa suit and had no teeth. And basically, like, he played the most like amazing playlist. He had a microphone, so then it turned into the kind of like karaoke party. We had the best time ever at that party. And Santa DJ after that made like an annual appearance at not just my Christmas party, but other friends' Christmas parties, because he was like so epic. This cutie little kitchen. So I love this kitchen. What you can't really tell in this picture is that the dishwasher is like miniature sized. It's like tiny, and so is the oven. It's like little bitty, like, I don't know, 18 or 24 inches. It's tiny, and everything was like miniature scaled. So that's why I called it the Dollhouse. And you can't really tell in this picture because it's like so blown out, which was kind of the style at the time. But the Roman shade on the window, I had Emily Dawes make that for me. And it's like blush with little palms on it. And we had both just started our businesses. We were like trying to support each other. And I was so proud of that little Roman shade that I had made. And you literally can't even see it because this picture's so blown out. But that was intentional. That was like the look, you know? Oh yes. So this was the little screened-in porch that I built off the back of the house. And my friends joke that the only reason I dated the guy that I was dating at the time is because he built this screened-in porch, which is kind of true. And I don't even understand how he did this. Like, he literally built this like with his bare hands, no help. Somehow figured out how to build this with like very minimal tools, and it was like phenomenal, like beautifully done. It had like a little the roof was metal, this cute little metal roof, and like exposed beams at the top. He put a fan in, like it was precious. And he also installed like a garden, like raised garden boxes like on the side. He was very handy and very good at these kind of things. And I'm very grateful for that. This little porch was so sweet. I did sit out here all the time and work. So it also just brings back a lot of memories. Yeah. Yeah, my friends are like, well, at least you got the porch out of it. That was smart. I actually had another girlfriend that did that too. It's crazy.
Same guy?
No, different guy. She has a house downtown, and she started dating this guy who was a contractor, and he built her a screened-in porch. Yeah, it's like a thing. So yeah, this is the little dining room, and that chandelier my mom gave me, that piece of art my mom gave me, the sheepskin my mom gave me, and the table I had made by this guy on Johns Island, I think. And it was inspired by Brooklyn Decker, who I love. I was following her, and she, I think, was renovating a home at the time. And she had this dining table made that had that chevron pattern going down the table, and I was obsessed with it. And so I basically copied her and had this table made for like $500 or something, like nothing, and got the acrylic chairs on Amazon. And I found the rug, I think on Etsy, like an overdyed Ushak rug, and pulled this space together. And again, I just remember being like so proud of this little space that I designed. This is what I was calling like my design business. And like, it's just wild still to this day that people looked at this and were like, wow, you're so talented. I mean, but like, I was like going out in the yard, like finding these palms and sticking them in these big vessels, which I still do. So maybe, you know, there's a little nod. Like, I appreciate handmade furniture. I appreciate artwork. I appreciate antiques like this chandelier. I appreciate, you know, Ushak rugs. So it's funny how like some of the things that I still love and utilize now in my designs, I was trying so hard to utilize then like the best that I could. Both my parents, you know, gave my sister and I a lot of artwork at a very young age. Like, I remember when we turned like 10 and 12 for Christmas that year, they gave us these like really huge art pieces by Alexandra Nikita, who now is like a very famous artist. And Hugh actually has my piece in his office. But I remember at the time being like, why are y'all giving us art? Like, this is the last thing that we want. But they were trying to teach us to respect art and that it's a good investment. And they've both collected art over the years. And luckily, those have been pieces that have been passed down to us. And we both have art pieces from our family in our home. And I just think that's such a cool thing. And I think Hugh and I have continued to do that for our girls too. They already have so much art. We literally have like no more walls for art. But my mom, she has given me so many cool things, like my Louis Vuitton trunk in my living room. You know, she like is one of those people that can like find really amazing pieces like that for like nothing. She's that person. When I purchased the downtown dollhouse and was like designing it, sharing it on social media, I had zero intentions of becoming a designer. That was never really like my thought until one day it just clicked. I realized when my friends were asking me to help them, and then just people I didn't know on social media to help them, I realized like, wait, like people actually want me to do this for them. And everyone kept saying, I love your style, love your style. And I realized at that moment that like I had a style. My style has always remained the same, but it's like evolved with just what I've learned over the years. I think with age, with seeing so much more that's out there with resources and what's available to me, with travel, with having children, you know, it's just all of that changes your style. In the beginning, I had to do it on a budget, just like everyone does. Even my design clients now, like they have a budget. And so I've always been good, I would say, at understanding that because I've been there, I've done it, I still have to do that. Like precious time in my life where I really discovered who I was and what I was good at, what I was passionate about, what, you know, my kind of destiny was, I guess. And it took me a while to figure that out. But once it clicked and once I owned it, it's like everything fell into place after that in my life. You know, I met my husband, I had my daughters, you know, started my business. It's like everything made sense once I understood who I was as a person. That was such a wild time. I mean, I didn't really get into it, but this guy, I mean, he broke my heart. Like literally, like I thought like I wasn't going to be able to go on.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
It was awful. Like he was the guy I thought I was going to marry, you know?
Oh jeez.
And huh? Oh yeah.
It's the one that built the...
Nope. So porch guy was like the rebound, like the helped me get over that guy.
Wait, how long did you and that guy date for?
Like 2.5 years.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was serious, and we did long distance for a year of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I was devastated, like beyond. Just like, oh my God, thank God that didn't work out. You know, like I'm so grateful because none of this would have happened. Nothing. And it was so meant to be. But no, the porch guy was just the rebound, and then he built the porch. and which was great. It's like I went through this like low time when I moved into that house. And then once I was like, oh my God, like, this is working. It just all like clicked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was 35 years old. It's not like, y'all are so young. You're so young.